Happy Friday morning, beautiful people. You tune into WDRB Media, the voice of the community. You're listening to Pause Reset Unplugged, and I'm your host, your girl, Natalie Francis-Clarke. Just want to say thank you to all those who've been tuning in these past weeks. I'm so excited. This is actually my 11th week. So big up to those streaming on TuneIn Radio, Streamer, Apple Radio, Radio with 2Ds, and so much more. Okay. Just want to thank you. Also, thank you to those who messaged me regarding last week's topic. We spoke about, superstitions and practices just passed down generation to generation. Some great ones came in and it just made me chuckle. Like, how could I forget don't sweep someone's feet? Huh? How could I have forgotten that one? I laughed when I read this because I grew up hearing that don't sweep someone's feet because you were blocking them from getting married. The other thing, don't sweep your dust out your front door. Pick it up in the dustpan and you could toss them. You could toss it in the trash, wherever, but don't sweep it out the front door. Another one mentioned was not to pick up pennies. And for some reason, I realized I never pick up pennies when I see them on the street. Let it be a quarter, let it be some dollars. Yes, I will pick it up. But I never picked up pennies. But anyway, the reason why I was told, apparently, so copper is that metal that draws everything. You may see people who have arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis. They tend to deal with copper because the copper draws out, pain or things like that. Well, same thing with the copper. The copper, I guess, can obtain a lot of things. So sometimes people can do harmful things in which the copper in that penny draws it, and you pick it up and harm can be done to you. So I know that back in the day, pennies were like 100% copper, but I do know that copper is still in the penny. It's just not like 100%, but it's still like a good portion. So that was something that I actually learned. Anyway, once again, thank you for sharing. Also, check it. The three of us came in backwards again. Saturday night, we went to a pool party, which was great, by the way. It was nice, mature crowd. And the three of us, I say, that was myself, Mr. Clarke, and my stepson, who is in his early 20s. And I just had to say, I know why we do it. We're a little bit older, but I was wondering, why does this 20-year-old, 22, about to be 23-year-old, why does he come in backwards? And, we all laughed, and he said, well, growing up, he grew up in Guyana. He said his grandmother used to yell out, I hope you walk in backwards and not bring nothing into this house. So as you can see, there's certain things that a lot of countries, Caribbean countries, we have and so forth. But that was really fun, just reading some of the things. Let's see. I started Pilates again after that brief hiatus from the incident back in late June when I hurt my back. Best believe I am not doing any high-level classes. I am practicing centering and balancing. And the stretch is exactly what I need. To be honest, it's going to take a while for me to do anything high level. My confidence level, I am not going to lie, was just shot. And to be honest, I'm nervous because that was not a good situation. Anyway, I'm loving the centering and the balancing is definitely needed. I definitely need the stretching because you can tell it hasn't been done in quite some time. Anyway, I hope your week has been restful, productive, or however you desired it to be. I'm doing my best to live in the moment and thanking God for the many blessings. Since COVID-19, since we were all shut down, I I haven't been attending Sunday church, in the actual building, but I've been watching it via the internet. I particularly watched, well, I think I kind of stopped. I particularly was watching my old church back in Boston, Mass, mainly because it was a good way to see, my family on a weekly basis, right? Still have some family members who attend, and just maybe like a handful of people who I may have grown up with. And when I say handful, it's probably not even a full hand that's there now. But I realize I don't know how much further I'm going to watch it, because I realize I grumble after I watch it because it's a bit empty and just so different from the Sunday morning service that I grew up with. Listen, when leaders are questionable in an organization, and that's corporate, nonprofit, or in this case, religious, it shows. It shows. Listen. We will be right back after this pause, and we'll get into it.
This one is gonna cause more pain. Hey, 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 hey. I am the ruler of the land, and this is why the people listen my commands. Oh, anytime I touch the stage, just take a look at how the people them behave. Cause when I reach it's madness. Run for cover, people madness. Get on real bad people madness. Push on one another, people madness. Madness. Run for cover, people madness. Get on real bad people madness. Push on one another, people mad, 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 mad. Everybody know. Run and 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 run. Run around the town. Run and 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 run. Like a marathon. Hey. From the time they call me name, it's like a program they bring.
The Caribbean International Cultural Association of Charlotte, North Carolina, also known as SECA, will be having their annual Caribbean Family Picnic on August 26th, wow, did I just say 2023 from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the University Area YMCA. Pre-order your plates. Escovitch fish, jerk chicken, stewed chicken, and barbecue chicken, as well as jerk pork. For more information, you can call 704-965-4915 or visit SECACarolina.org. That's CICA Carolina.org. Music will be provided by DJ Cali. So come out, enjoy. This is for a great cause. Proceeds go towards the scholarship awards for graduating high school seniors of Caribbean descent. All right. So I hope that I will see you there.
Rapid. Been working for a while. I barely see my child. Hey, been working for so long. Hey, I barely know these songs. Hey. Well, you see today they wanna clock out. Boss tell me anything, then I'll walk out. A ticket in my pocket and it pop out. I need a glass of rum to put in my mouth. Yeah. Well, you see today they wanna clock out. Boss tell me anything, then I'll walk out. A ticket in my pocket and it pop out. I need a glass of rum to put in my mouth. My hawker say yeah. My friends and them say yeah. Pass me a rum, let me catch on fire, yeah. My people, them say, yeah. When you see me clock out, I'm out on the road. I'm out on the road, I'm out on the road, yeah. When you see me clock out, I'm out on the road. I'm out on the road, I'm out on the road, nah. So long as you see me leave the scene, pass it a drinking anything. When I walk in hard. And that's why you are there. So when I party mad. Okay, I drinking, but no work I be thinking. Me and my friends linking, and the liquor we pimping. Okay, you could say what you're thinking. Cause you see today they wanna clock out. Boss tell me anything, then I'll walk out. A ticket in my pocket and it pop out. I need a glass of rum to put in my mouth. My coca say yeah. My friends and them say yeah. Pass me a rum, let me catch on fire, yeah. My people them say yeah. When you see me clock out, I'm out on the road. I'm out on the road.
If you are now tuning in, you're listening to Pause Reset Unplugged, and I'm your host, Natalie Francis-Clarke. So you were listening to the Road March song for St. Vincent Carnival. That was Fireman Hooper with Madness. And also you listened to the Road March for St. Lucia 2023. That was Imran Nerdy with Clock Out. Okay, so I'm not going to lie. I really wanted to play Ricky T's song Caillou because I love that song, but absolutely not, because I would have to explain, and I didn't want to get in trouble with playing the song. It's just interesting song, but check it. If you like Ricky T from St. Lucia, check out Caillou. That's Kayyou by Ricky T. I guarantee you like the song. It's fun. It's catchy. Anyway, so prior to break, I was talking about my old church back in Mass. And before I begin, if anyone thinks they'll be offended, that they're still attending, please cock your ears, log off, or hit me up if you want to say something in defense, or just I don't know, whatever you want to relay. Okay, I'm here to listen. So I'm not going to name the church. Anyway, so how, I started to think about this. My brother and I think it was last week, we were talking about growing up in this particular church and how packed it was, and just how much talent was in this church. There were concerts, visiting churches, a choir that sounded decent, young people, mid-age, elders. Was it perfect? Absolutely not. Were some things questionable? Of course. But it wasn't like this, and I'm not even saying, and I'm not saying that this is because of COVID, because trust me, attendance was down even prior. I remember 2019, because this was a church that my family attended for umpteen years. 2019 the reunion was in Boston. So we had church service the Sunday, and attendance, besides my family who was there for the reunion, was next to nothing. A good portion of core members and leaders left. There's a saying in the corporate world that employees leave managers, not companies. Because I'm sure those who left, it wasn't because their belief systems have changed. I see them in other churches. So that saying where employees leave managers and not employees, I think the same could go over here. Like I said, I grew up in this church, and from now looking on the outside, it's been the same two top leaders from whence, and I just want to reiterate, this is not personal. All I'm saying is that maybe it's time for leadership to step aside and maybe play a different role and actually trust who they put in place. If you want to appoint, nepotism is definitely not the way. Nepotism, we all know, is the practice among those in power or influence of favoring relatives, friends, or associates. And I am not solely picking on this establishment. There are those that I know, other organizations that I know, And, it comes to a point where it hurts when you know there's so much potential. And when you know how much talent, I said it before, but how much talent came and left. Or the fact that those who remain there, some stay and just remain silent, or just accept the fact that, well, this is how they are. Huh? Does that make sense? Trust me, I applaud those who are there and trying to make a change, but they say you're as strong as your leader. And then they also say you are as strong as your weakest link. Listen, I've met these sayings. But, as I got older, I always thought growth was a goal for churches and nonprofits. What happened? Take out the personal and deal with the strategy or the goal at hand. If the strategy is not there, revise it or change leadership, change the course. I'm not telling you to change the beliefs. I'm not telling you to change, the aim of a organization or church. I'm not saying that. But if a current strategy isn't working, revise it or change leadership altogether. Also, question for you. Is it a conflict of interest to have pastors on the leadership board? Or okay, maybe a pastor's on the leadership board, but is it a conflict of interest to have husband, wife? I'm just thinking nepotism. Or maybe I don't know. Maybe it could be because they're just not mature enough to be on a leadership board and still be the head pastor. Maturity doesn't necessarily come with age. Anyway, for me personally, I'm wondering if I was in that position, if I would have been mature enough to separate, the issues, to not make it personal. Anyway, let's take this break. And like I said, this is in no way personal. This is an open dialogue. I actually genuinely care. Because like I said, I grew up at this church. And what I see today, it's just different. And not in the best way. We'll be right back after this.
Time to get wild. Waste the water. Up in the back. What up the beer? Jump the water. What up the hand? What up the beer? Fling the water. In the back. In the beer. Dash the water. In the beer. We don't like it dry. Wet up. We don't like it dry. Wet up. We don't like it dry. Wet up. Throw your water high. Shoot up. We don't like it dry. Wet up. We don't like it dry. Wet up. We don't like it dry. Wet up. Throw your water high. Shoot up. This is a collaboration from the junior nation creating a wet song just for you to jam. King Psycho, we call it Queen Empress, my darling. So Cavillan, the whole crew transforming. The party are moving set, so let it rain. Time to mash up the place. Session must wild, time to get wild. Waste the water, pump in the back, what up the race? Jump the water, what up the hand, what up the
Hey, welcome back. So you were listening to Empress with Let It Rain. That was one of Antigua's Road March songs for 2023. Believe it or not, Antigua had a three-way tie for Road March this year. So Empress tied with my girl Claudette Peters and also tied with Ricardo Drew. All right. So big up to Empress. So next week we will listen to Barbados and Grenada's Road March songs. If you can't tell by now, I like to listen to various island music. So if there's something that you feel this is something good to play, that is clean, that I can play on it and not get into trouble, text me, let me know. Let me know what you'd like to hear. 704-965-7760, 704-965-7760. Or you can always feel free to send me a message, Pause Reset Brunch at gmail.com, and let me know what you'd like to hear. Anyway, let me get back to the topic at hand. I feel the need to stress that this is not personal. It's actually coming from a place of disappointment. You know, we see churches and nonprofits, but I'm talking about the churches mainly, filled with nepotism, and some feel it's a family business, or some see it as a personal thing. I mean, we see it all over. We even see it in Carnival, right? We won't even go there. Anyway, maybe it's just me being naive that I expect better from the churches, the religious communities. What do you think? Am I being naive? Send me a text, 704-965-7760, 704-965-7760. Maybe leaders should be in a position or be a board member or on the leadership board for a max of 2 to 4 years. And this need to be enforced. But what happens if there's no one else to run? What happens then? Or what happens if the same stagnant leadership refuse to give up power? And before anyone says, well, why don't you try to do something? Leave me alone. Okay, this is too much. I mean, you see it in corporate, but I expect different from spiritual leaders. I really do. I see some churches flourish, and then I see others don't. And you're saying, all right, same amount of time, those churches that have been, active for years, donkey years, 20, 40, 50 years, and you see some prospering and you see some aren't. This goes for organizations who've been in the business 20 years, 5 years, match it up to those that have been in the same time as them. And you're saying, what is the difference? What? I don't know. I just feel focus on the strategy of growth and positive leaderships. And you can feel free to agree or disagree with me. I welcome it all. Like I said, this is just me sharing my opinions. This is why it's called Unplugged. I'm just sharing my opinion. If I am wrong, tell me. If there's something to show differently, tell me. I'm curious. But you know what I find most disappointing is when folks use the excuse, that's how it's always been. Or that's just them. They've been like that forever. Or why leave? This nonsense is everywhere. It's something, what's that saying? The hand that you're dealt with, that type of mentality. So they just stay. I listen, it is what it is, but what is even more disappointing is when someone comes in or someone who's been there and they try to lend their voice, they try to lend their skills, their talents. They try to the point that they eventually stop trying because they don't see the point anymore. That is sad. And I remember being like that at a company that I worked with. So many ideas. I even spent my own money sharpening my skills to be ignored. So I'm wondering if this is why when I look at my old church and I see leaders that were there in other churches doing what they love, flourishing. The other thing I want to know is for the leaders that have been there from the very beginning that refuse to actually step aside, and meaning really step aside, do they think, what can I do better? Do they think, is this a reflection of me? Or do they have the mentality, letting go about their business? Let me know. Shoot me a text, 704-965-7760. So we'll take a quick break here and we'll be right back to wrap up. Yes, so Luciano is truly a messenger. Yep, you were listening to the one and only Luciano with Oh Father, I Love Thee. His songs remain classics. I don't care. I don't care. That's just how it is. Mr. Clarke actually woke up this morning singing this, so it is truly the song of the day. All right, so let's wrap up, but be sure to message me your thoughts on today's topic. The only thing I'd like to add is that arrogance and effective leadership, it doesn't mix. All right. So with that note, thank you for tuning in to Pause Reset Unplugged, and meet me next Friday at 9 a.m. And remember, enjoy your weekend. Protect your peace. Whatever you do, be safe doing it. Till next time, Godspeed.